everyone. Richard Carlton. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. There I am right there. Welcome to a great place to learn about the FileMaker platform at fmtraining.tv. If you go to fmtraining.tv, I'm going to bring this up real quick. You can see the upcoming broadcast schedule. So fmtraining.tv, you come here, press the live tab button right over there. I'm going to reverse myself so it doesn't hurt my head. There we go. It's my stage, and there we go. Live training right there. You come down here, you can see the upcoming days. Day one of this coming Monday is going to be day one of FileMaker Basics along with basics of customizing a CRM. So that is like day one for mostly not the folks here. If you're a brand new FileMaker developer, you know who you are. I'm not in any way picking on you. In fact, frankly, you're the most important people to me because I want to bring new people to the FileMaker community, to the Claris platform community, whatever you want to call it. I think bringing new people is great. And so that's what next week is about. Today is kind of an for the established the usual suspects, right? The Eds, the Davids, the Canberras, Andrew. I don't know if that's you or not. Foxy Jack, Gadidi, Jericho, Mikey, Organ, and Peter, Ruben Scott, Schmiegel, Foxy Jack, Bob, Foxy David, all you folks. And then, of course, Michelle Gravel on YouTube and whoever else is on YouTube. Let me adjust this here. Then I can see what's going on YouTube. Oh, there we go. Michelle Gravel, Ace Estimate, Wally. Hey, how's it going, folks? Today is a kind of an introduction for you folks to talk about the FM Starting Point, ask questions about the new FM Starting Point. We will cover all the ins and outs of it the best we can. Potentially this conversation will be more advanced today. The next week, starting Monday, is the basics day one all the way for 22, 23, 24 days, in which case every day we're going to be covering the various topics about FileMaker, and it starts at the beginning with what the hell do you want, what is FileMaker, what's a layout, what are tables, all that kind of stuff. This day one, day two kind of stuff. So that's going on there. Let's talk about PAWS on air real quick. So this is, there is no FileMaker Developer Conference this year. If you are a FileMaker person, you want to go and meet someone face-to-face and talk FileMaker stuff, the only way to do it in the United States in a reasonable, like awesome place is to go to Georgia. Now, Georgia up in the mountains is kind of a nice retreat. That's where PAWS on air is this coming year. It was there last year's. While I went there, it was great, a lot of fun. So the registration opened yesterday morning. If you're going and you want to do this, I highly recommend you go through the process of signing up for it sooner rather than later, because what they have is different kinds of accommodations. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this real quick so you can. I'm going to go through this. I'm going to put this information in here. These are the accommodations they have. They have a hotel room. This isn't per night. This is for 3 days. And that includes like food and stuff like that. But these other ones are large cabins, like camping cabins, like with other people, right? Or you can do tent camps, things like that. So you can read the information here. But they've sold through more than half of their hotel rooms. So if you want to go, definitely go buy it now. On a per person basis, like say there's 2 of you and you share a hotel room, it's about $1,000 per person for this, basically a 3-day event. Starts Monday at lunch and goes through Thursday about noon. Everyone's gone by about Thursday, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. So it's a good time. It's a chance to get out, get away from the city, see some different people. You'll hear some the topics there are generally pretty advanced topics, API this, that, and the other thing. There's some pretty talented people that show up to that. I'll be taking myself and 5 RCC people on that event, but I wanted to let you know that they are selling through these allotments here. And so if it's you and your wife, and you don't want to have a very public kind of thing, then you probably want either a small cabin. So you look at the small cabin, it's 2 beds in 1 room, and then if you zoom down here a little bit, 2 beds in 1 room, and then like some bunk beds for other people. So you could put 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10 people in there about. Or you could just rent the whole thing for yourself and just keep the 2 rooms and turn this into a beer and party area. I'm sure that's what some of us would do. Then there's, of course, the hotel room, which is just 2 double beds, kind of like a legit normal hotel room. But they're sold through quite a few of those already. They're down to probably 20 or so left. So if you want to do that, go do it now. That is your warning. I will be there. This is October 25th, around that time frame. So yeah, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th. There is the Slack. This guy over here. Welcome to Michael. Michael, this is Michael. This is the chief engineer. Like when you're on the Starship starting point light, and you call down to the engine room and say, "Hey, the engines are gone, baby," right? You call down. This is the chief engineer over there. Say, Michael, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing today?
I am fine. Michael finished starting point, then went on vacation for like 10 days and was really worried how it would go. But I think the feedback's been positive. We've had a lot of bugs submitted. A couple of you decided that you were smarter than everyone else on the planet. You know who you are. And they told me, they gave me enough stuff that in order for me to fix all their ideas would be about $40,000 in work. But they were happy for me to spend my $40,000, not their $40,000. So I said, well, if you'd like to send me a stack of cash, then all your customizations can be accomplished. But it's one of those people that's I think people have more ideas than money, right? Or more brilliance than money. So I'm not picking on the people who did that. You know who you are. But we had a lot of people with good ideas. Like for example, if you shoot an email out of contacts, it should log that email into the activity notes. Not doing that, we'll fix that, make that. So you have a bunch of bugs that we're working on. So all right, so Christian, yeah, Tony Stark. This is what we call is Michael's new name. We do call him Tony Stark. He's got that GQ kind of look going to him. To be very honest with all of you, real quick, if you want to get help with the new FM starting point, and you don't have a coach, a FileMaker coach already, Michael is here available, and he's pretty inexpensive. So if you want a one-on-one coach that's going to help you learn about the FileMaker platform, and/or you want to hire the actual guy who built the new starting point. That's this guy right here. Now, Nick Hunter, as you all know, built the version of Starting Point. I don't even know if we even talk about that on the website. Let me go to the website real quick. Let me go to FM. I have a button for this. FM Starting Point. There it is. Push that button. And so this is the current Starting Point website. The current version that Michael has created for us is what we're calling the version for the current calendar year 2022. We have the light version first. The light version is the US English version that has some simplifications in it for training. It's the easiest thing for you to learn. From this, we're going to bug fix it, finalize it, then we're going to create the versions that are the standard versions, which have a little more performance enhancements to them. Once again, you'll never see the performance issues unless you have 30 or 40, 50 simultaneous people beating on the file, and the file is up in the cloud on a cloud server somewhere. That's where there are some performance things that you want to think about. You could adjust and fix them in the light, or you could start over here with this one, with the full version. So coming up, if I go to versions right here, we have starting point light. That's the one we have right now. We have standard, and then we have enhanced. And keep in mind that the standard one and enhanced will have these variants here. I mentioned this in other videos, but there's 4 flavors of English. You would think English is one language. It's kind of not really. There's currency, date issues in each country. So you got currency, date, and time issues and address issues that vary from these 4, I would call, geographical locations. The Canadians, unfortunately, if you're Canada, Canadians have their own problems, different than the American problems that we have, different than the Australian problems that the Australians have. But the Canadians use kind of a hybrid of the Australian/US one. I'm not going to create a Canadian version of Starting Point for you. But I've got calls from other CEOs at other FileMaker consultancies saying, hey, can we steal this design? I said, yeah, you can steal it all you want. Just make sure you give us a little credit somewhere for that. It is free. You can take it. You can't resell Starting Point by itself. If you want to turn it into a vertical market application, you can do that. Change the name, call it Roof Commander, or if you're Moki or David Learning. David Learning, I'm pretty sure, no, it's David Angel. He's my problem. He probably runs a strip club wherever he's at, and he would probably use Starting Point to do that. I know that the strip clubs in Nevada used FileMaker to run their businesses at one point. That was a big lucrative business about 10, 15 years ago that I couldn't get in on, but it sounded like a lot of fun at the time. But David Angel, if that's your business, you could take Starting Point, customize it, call it, stripper, FM stripper point or something or whatever, stripping point. And then you could resell that as long as you had made a lot of modifications to it along the way. You added performers and schedules and some other stuff like that. So anyway, Michael, why don't you show your screen and walk us through the current starting point and kind of what you have cooking on that. So this is the new starting point when you open it up. I think was it playing the video here? Did it quit playing or what happened?
Oh, it already played through the video
Oh, it's
here.
supposed to autoplay, whatever. That's fine. So some of you suggested that I have you talk to you in your sleep. So like Ed Burkle's like, hey, Ed, how's it going? This is starting point. Ed. Oh my God. So, but yeah, so the idea is that you can, if you go into the video here a little bit, what we do is we display some possible dashboards that you could come up with. This is an area that's really customizable to show you the information that's important to your organization. We kind of dummy this up with other solutions, etc. But that's kind of what this is for. So this has, yeah, if you, I don't, it doesn't matter, but you can grab it, move it back here. Can you do that at all? Is it even gonna
No, it
review?
doesn't let me. It doesn't let me do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a
There.
bug. All right. So the idea is that if you go into here, this is going to look very much like Nick's version of starting point 22. Nick's is, I can tell you, we had a design meeting with 6 people, and it took 6 people to wrestle with this design to come up with something that wasn't going to drive us insane with complexity. So we went way out of our way to simplify this so it would be understandable by kind of semi-normal humans, right? So,
hmm
Yep. So, cool. So, along the way, if you folks have questions, please let us know. But it visually looks like Nick's solution, but this is understandable by mere humans. And I'm not picking on Nick. Nick's objective is to provide advanced training. And our job with this version of Starting Point was to have it look nice, but also, don't make it so complicated that only Nick can work on it, right? You folks had a lot of questions about stuff, so that's fine. So structurally, you want to walk us through this basically because we basically focused on this stuff. You want to walk us through what we did. What did you do? I mean, you did a lot of surgery on this thing, right?
Sure. Yeah, a lot of the surgery that I did was mostly moving things around. We felt that some of the information was spread across too many different areas. For instance, the communication addresses, it was spread out through an accordion. And we decided we wanted to make that a little bit more cohesive, a little bit easier to understand, and just a little less confusing for someone who's never done an accordion before. And so we just made this very standard tabs here, and this is another tab nested with inside of that tab. So in that area, that's mostly what we did here, just kind of consolidation and just making it a little more simple.
Okay, so what do we do in terms of the accordion? Do we still have the accordion views in here? Did we get rid of those? What did we do?
Accordions are gone.
Gone.
Accordions are gone.
And we got rid of those because why?
It's just a little bit confusing for someone who's very new to FileMaker. Starting Point is used both as a CRM for big businesses, but we also use it for training. And if you're just getting to know FileMaker, it's just a little bit too confusing having hidden slides and go to this slide and go to that slide. Most of the people here would probably be able to understand it, but for the light version, we wanted to make things as simple as possible.
Yep. And that's also why we're using this one for the beginner stuff next starting Monday. So once again, I apologize for all of you who really like that conversation that's really advanced. There'll be a slight break for you in between there. During that time, there's probably a couple conversations that will happen that we'll have to interrupt because we might have Claris on as a guest to talk about what they're working on, et cetera, et cetera. But at the current time, they're not on the schedule. So the idea was for us to be able to explain this and to understand this by people. So why don't you pop here at the layout? So why don't we talk about big picture items? So we have mouse layouts. If you're looking for the what are their touch layouts? Is that the other ones that we would have had before?
Yeah, we had touch layouts and we had mobile layouts.
Yep. So those aren't in here because this is the light version, and we're trying to keep it simplified. These screens here should render out fine on an iPad. We haven't tested them per se on WebDirect, but the idea is that I think this is the training light training version. We're going to get the bugs fixed in here, then we'll go back to the next one and look at it. How hard is it for us to support WebDirect, et cetera, things like that. Because WebDirect has a lot of limitations. There's people who love it, people who hate it. I just hate the fact that you have to have a bunch of special rules and regulations. If you sat with Nick in training, you understand how that works, right? So there's a lot of things you can get away with in Pro that you can't get away with in WebDirect because it's a little more regimented would be the words. So we have account section. We organize them by numbers. If you want to click on that, we can just take a look at that section loosely. Yeah, so, and then if we have some older ones here, we're going to probably do a little cleanup along the way, figure out what we're doing, if we're going to keep stuff or get rid of it. So we got accounts, we have access accounts, which accounts are organizations. These are not necessarily businesses, but they are decidedly some sort of grouping of a business or educational institution, nonprofit, but not people. People are contacts over here. These are typically could be customers, they could be vendors, they could be whatever you want to track, but they are fundamentally people. You have assets here, which are like basic asset capability. We have this basic calendaring system is unchanged, right? That's fullcalendar.io. It's not our system. It's an open source system. I'll probably have to check with Calvin to see if we've updated that at all. Calendar, then documents is a basic document storage. I don't even remember using that too often. Not a high traffic area, but we have estimates, expenses. Estimates and invoices are very similar. Um, Invoices have a little bit more financials in them. Notes, products, projects, tasks, and maintenance is just for like developer layouts. We call it maintenance, but it's developer-based layouts. You can call it whatever you want. Notice how we number the things together. So it helps us find. So if someone has a problem, I say, what layout are you on? A lot of people, as a lot of you very well know, when they say, oh, what, let me make myself a little smaller here. They go, what layout are they on? They're like, I'm on a layout called print label. And I've actually been in customer solutions before. They had 4 print label layouts. FileMaker internally had a hidden ID on them, knew the difference, but as a human, I could not tell the difference. So we always put numbers on them. That way we can identify you're on layout 501 or layout 301 or 21 or 8 or something, whatever they are. So, so that is the structure of this right now. And then the standard version of this will have this, and then we will replicate these and make them work for touch devices, which basically means web, well, tablets, basically they're tablet-sized devices with either Go or WebDirect, or with WebDirect, we test it on an Android device, is what we try to do. Typically, I use in fact, I should have one. I have my Chromebook. We test on Chromebook. This may be off in the weeds, but I notice the send email contacts is an insert from URL. So do you have anything on the sending email? If you go to contacts over here and send email, we want to take a look at that script real quick. Because if you say wherever the email's right here.
So we go to the email here.
Yeah.
And then we got these up here.
Okay. All right.
So let's take a look.
To send it, you have to click up there. Ugh. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was another feature request that we were looking at today.
Of pulling it down and putting it back down there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's really, well, we're trying to minimize the clicks. And if you go to the email screen and you know you're going to have to click it, then why bury it, right? Why bury? Mm-hmm. It's like a cat burying turds in the litter box. Why bury it so you have to dig it out? So yeah, that'll have to get moved. This is, are we in a script debugger? Is that what we're doing? And we're going to step through?
We can step through, sure.
Okay, so where are we? Yeah, you can close that if you want, but yeah, you're looking at the script, but go to back to browse mode, and then you're going to have to, you have an update in there to send it? Okay. Email number.
We can just put mine in.
Okay. Put some stuff in, test, and yeah, okay. And then send. So it should be doing the it should be doing the basic. Hey, move that on. Oh, sorry. I'm zoomed in over here. Sorry. We got to see this. So if you want to step through it, my suggestion would be move this over here and move this over here. So flip your
Okay.
windows left and right. There we go. So then we can see the important stuff is on the left and we can slide if we need to. Okay, so what are we doing? So you're doing some substitutions in here. You want to step through those. We do substitutions on merge fields. And then
Mm-hmm.
there is the the send email command is right there. Okay, so that sends out an email that way. Okay, there it is right there.
Pops it open. Send it to myself. Sure.
Okay, so Christian's talking about um, a send email in context as an insert from URL. Yeah, I don't, maybe a different feature. If you go to preferences, this is an important point here. Go to preferences for us here.
So
I get myself out of the way here. I don't need to be here. Um,
oh, Christian's trying to guide me real quick to show me where it's. Oh, it's this email. We're looking at the wrong one.
okay, well, and that brings up a good point. What is this email? How is this one different than this one right here?
This email just pops up the actual email client here without having any of the other features like substitutions.
So this is like email templates over here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that's like a quickie email. And this is like a more of a form email where you have different situations. We use the same tech at RCC. So when you hit tech support, my engineers have an arsenal of several hundred canned emails. In fact, we have so many that we frequently lose track of them. They go out of date because it'll say, "Oh, yeah, this is a bug in FileMaker 17," and it's still in there, 5 years later. So, yeah. So, yeah.
It's
So,
interesting.
uh, that is that way. Yeah. I don't. Unless it's broke, I would leave it. Would be my general implication. Are you?
Yeah. So this is the script parameters that Christian was referring to here.
So he passes those. Yeah. Anytime you're doing a script parameter like that, you'd have to see if that's necessary. But one of the things we're always doing is evaluating whether something is too complicated for the solution. This little item I here may have slid through. So,
Yeah. Agreed.
because I don't want to have to explain to people what a list function is with a brand
Mm,
new conversation we're having for people. So that's a good one.
that is a good one. I'm making a note of that.
Yeah, please make a note of that one. We're going to want to simplify that one a little bit. But the goal is that some of you have really good feedback for us on things like this. If something is confusing, you have questions about it, please let me know about that, because the only way to make it better is if the send button should be easier to find. Yeah, so we're going to fix that one too. It's on
Hmm.
the email form up there. If you hit the email form, go ahead and hit the email form again. That, yeah, it's buried. That is not, okay, not remotely acceptable. See, Nick did this, and I love Nick, but Nick is showing off how to make it beautiful. This is truly beautiful. This is not functional, because these are high. That is by far, when you come to screen, that will be almost always either if you're going to send an email, you're going to press that button, which means it should be down here. These right here are all in here as substitutions. They actually might be more useful as putting up here, up in this, putting the substitutions up here, because they're less likely to be used, or they're like if you have a canned email, like these are the canned emails over here, right? You click on one of
Hmm.
these, it loads the canned email in here, and then this one right here is already from the first name, which is right here. So if it's already built, you wouldn't need it. You'd select it over here, then you'd want to send it. So yeah, so my suggestion, once again, this is kind of you're watching like the sausage making live on TV, which I guess is kind of I guess this is what you would call a usability review, right? That's kind of what we're doing. But if you have suggestions, please. Yeah, Margaret, I'll let you chase Canberra's off-topic question. I don't know where his file is from yesterday. Okay. Uh,
Yep.
you can chase that. Um, so popping this up here, high traffic items should be on screen. Lower traffic items can be buried. So why don't we flip those things, okay? The contents of them.
Yeah.
Because it is beautiful. The point is, Nick does that, but here's the thing: Nick doesn't actually use this, and that's the rub you run into with something like Starting Point. We actually use this. Like I took a copy of the old Starting Point And I will slide over here real quick, see if I can pop this up. So this is a CRM. I took a copy of Starting Point Lite 2020, and this is a tax shelter, my tax deduction for the helicopter, right? That way I can do the training, work on alternate career number one in my part-time if I want, and meanwhile I have a solution. So we customize the colors, but I eat our own dog food, and by using this, right, then and then so, but I haven't obviously used this too much. Oh yeah, see right here, it's right there. You see that? So the send email, if you go to the email capability, it's the buttons are persistent at the top, but they're persistent. They're not buried, right? And then the merge fields are over here. So you could have a canned email, stick it in over here. Say you wanted another merge field. Yeah. So by eating your own dog food, you start to have a pretty good appreciation for where things are broke, and you've got to use them. But yeah, that's the problem. You need to use your products. You need to build and play with them so you have an understanding of what the hell the sticky problems are. Like I ran into a bug today. Once again, like Scott Kane, use your own tool, play with your own tool, use it, and figure out what the issues are. I ran into a problem today where I logged into this new Claris Amazing Cloud stuff, and my error message was a unknown security error or a security problem occurred. Literally, it says that. It's like a eighth grader wrote the error message. I logged in on computer A. It said a security error or security problem has occurred. You're not allowed to log in. And that was Claris's way of saying that the two-factor authentication failed, and I should check my email account to verify I have access. Anywhere else on the planet, you do two-factor authentication, it says, go check your email, go check your phone, go check something, right? With Claris, it didn't say that. And you know what that tells me is that the people who wrote that error message are not using the damn product. Because if they use the product, they would pull their hair out screaming, right? So it's so important that you've got to eat your own dog food. You need to know if the dog food you've created is or not. Is it? And if it, fix it. If it's not, then sell the hell out of it to everyone, right, Michael?
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of people use Starting Point all over the place. I mean, I used it on the helicopter thing just to have it. Um, but I've used it when I was doing trainings, security training memberships and things. I did some other stuff. I've had 4 or 5 little businesses along the years that made a couple bucks on the side. It was great. Or they lost a lot of money on the side, like the helicopter thing. But the point is that you have to kind of organize it, and that helps you be in business, right? And so anytime I have a chance to start a new copy of Starting Point, I'm thrilled because then you find like this. And the other thing is that when you send the mail, it should log it, right? So if we go back
Hmm.
to details, it should put it into the notes, which is up here, right? So
Yeah.
notes. And this was another one where we were trying to come up with a way because we are like, well, this is redundant with this over here. And we went round and round. We had like 5 or 6, 8 meetings on this. But if you click on any of these other things, suddenly that goes away, right? So it's redundant only in so much as you're on notes, and if you don't like the fact that it comes to notes first, you can change this. Can you show people how you change this? Very basic, kind of a conversation that'll probably come up next week at some point.
Yeah, so basically what you do is you would just come over here. This is nested in a um, tab control up here. And so what you do is you would just click on this, and then you could slide
Ugh.
whichever one you wanted up here. This is a little bit of a hack.
That's the one affectation hack that we had.
Mhm.
That's really so. Can you could comment out the you could put a comment over here, right? Can't you put when you like because the name
Uh,
could be in a calculation, right?
oh, sure, sure.
Yeah, so if you put a comment, and which one
Uh,
is this? That's notes. Okay, go ahead and hit OK. And then hit, oh, you have to rename. There you go. Why don't we do that? That'll be super helpful, people, so they can see what we're doing here. That's another good
all
one.
right.
So sorry about that, but part of this is we're eating dog food on live TV in real time. So because it was hard to create, Claris has not updated the controls up here in like more than a decade. Like that's 10 years. 10 years and dog years is like what 10 years old. That's like 40 or 50 years, right? in human terms. That's how long this has been since they've updated this. So the tab control, this is why um, it's a one, I'd say, weird affectation that we have, hack that we have in it. We're going to have to spend some time talking about that
Mhm.
and how to actually just replace it if you don't like it. Just make it simpler, right? So, because the issue was that it was the little icon. Is that what the problem was? It was the icon above, or what was the mechanical
We
issue?
didn't want it to be slide controls.
Right. We want it to be real
Hmm.
tabs.
We wanted to be real tabs. So we took out the slide controls. We made it tabs, and then we added these buttons that typically, once you unlock these, you can move them around. Typically, so you can just move that where they're all grouped together.
Okay.
Do you want me to actually move one
No, that's
completely?
fine. I just, it's the one hack, and in a million years, I'd prefer not to have it. But the backside of this was so ugly in terms of visual representation. Was no way to make it visually appealing and modern without
Hmm.
something. What we might want to do though, is take this thing once it's done, is take it and replicate it over here and strip out make it as boring and as dumb and as simple as possible on the side, and just leave it in there on the side for as a training tool, right, Michael?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, live code review, right? So, but I mean, this is all part of what goes into like I had a customer. I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but I had a very well-known company, definitely Fortune 100 company, if not, probably 100, and they wanted kind of a guesstimate on how much a project would be, and they had not even written a loose outline of what they wanted to have built. And I'm like, well, I'm happy to provide a guesstimate for budgetary processes, but you have to have some sort of loose outline of the stuff you want to have built. And so having meetings, going through wireframe screenshots, that's how all this stuff started. And now we're kind of down to the point where you actually see it in concrete and you get to make adjustments in flight. But this is frankly, because of the sheer momentum and the amount of money I've stuffed into this. I'm into this for about $40,000 on this update. And then we're going to have to do the standard one after that, and that'll be more money. But quite a bit of money for an update. And we turn it loose for free. It essentially becomes a definitive standard in the FileMaker community for a CRM. So we want to make it right. We want to make it right. Um, yeah, I know. I mean, the hardest thing to do was to deal with taking away the Nick stuff because some of it was just beautiful. The goal was to come up with something that didn't make you feel like you're you know, on the moon, right? At the same time, it's teachable, right? This is the one thing that's not. So once again, if we want to once this is done and you fix whatever bugs you have over here, we just replicate and make frankly, a simpler one that they can just, drag and drop off on there. That would be probably really good, Michael.
Absolutely.
Questions from other people. Peter there, Mike's there, Lynn, Kyle. I mean, a lot of this is not necessarily within you have an interest in. But if you have questions or comments, and we can bring Jacob tomorrow, talk about this stuff, I guess, in terms of server stuff. Christian says, challenge for us. What we should do is call Christian. Mark, can you call Christian?
I was about to say, what? Why
He's
didn't we
he's
call
fucking
Christian in a
he's
while
talking
ago?
he's talking so much. Why don't we just like dial him in, right?
I'm adding him.
Okay, we won't turn on your camera. Christian frequently uh, does FileMaker development butt naked. We've had that problem with him before, so no camera for Christian. Christian, are you there?
Yeah, but I gotta mute Discord or I'm gonna go crazy.
All right, why don't you handle that? All right, Margaret's on the job. Margaret's good. The thing with Margaret, the more she learns, the better she gets, and she's learning more about FileMaker, and she's helping me write essentially this outline for this coming month, which is basically the essential beginnings of a revised curriculum for the FileMaker platform. There is no curriculum for FileMaker right now. The only curriculum that exists is what RCC is creating and the training we're creating. So, Rick, any chance you can put the contact picker on this version? Can chance you can put the contact picker on this version? What am I spacing on? He's talking about. All right, there we go. That's for Rick. Contact picker, contact picker, contact picker.
Contact picker. The one I'm thinking of is this guy.
Right?
Oh, yeah. So when you add a new contact, it makes the contact and it takes you to the data entry layout. I think what he's asking for is how Nick has the card window that pops up, and you can choose a contact from the card window.
Okay, so we're in the contacts. These are related. These are contacts from the same account. Is that what these are? Is that backup?
Yes. So if I were to go back to a contact, let's put this new contact in. We'll put
just put. There we go, Michael.
Michael.
Okay.
And we go back to accounts. Now I've got. Oh, I should have had Michael here. Was that the right one?
Why don't you go back to your record real quick? So that was you. So then Robin is part of that. So then if you go to contact, go back to contacts, should still be on your record. You're on this. So Michael is part of this company, and these are the people that are, if you click on this, click on that. We probably should put a sentence in here. Click on that. Contacts that you should put a sentence right here at the top, Michael, that says that are part. So it's not clear what this is, but contacts that are part of that are with this company and this whatever the account number is for that. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
That way explains how these people showed up. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Because when we attach someone else, attach Christian Olsen to this, it should add it through the account. Okay, so. Okay, so you go there. So yeah, so then it put him on duck it there, but then you can go back to Michael by pressing the go to related record button there. Okay, so yeah, so that's kind of how that's working. So yeah, if you could put a sentence in there that explains where these are from, okay, that would be because clearly we're on a because these contacts aren't there's no join table to connect the contacts to contacts. They're connected through the account, correct? Yes. So this is this is the parent record. The account is the child record. These are grandchildren right here, right? Should be. Go to layout mode. Take a look at we should be able to read it right off the name of the relationship. It should be obvious. Okay, layout mode. Now you've got some funkiness here. So TO5 Hotel, you want to go to TO5 Hotel? Let's take a look at TO5. So we're using Anchor Buoy here for those of you wondering about this. You can leave that up. You don't have to get rid of that. Command-Shift-D. Relationships. We'll zoom in a little bit. Bring up TO5. TO5 Delta. Okay, you're going to, just for now, move it out of the way so we can find the box in there and double-click the box.
This is for notes. Didn't you say hotel?
Oh, yeah. So, you went to layout mode and jumped the wrong one. Yes.
So it's the account and the Cartesian.
Oh, and okay. So this shows you everyone that's in. Okay, back up. So, okay, can you cancel this? I'm a very simple person. Cancel that. We're on the wrong one. Go back over here. Look at the correct thing. So you got to go layout mode and just leave it in layout mode. You don't have to go back to browse mode. We got to label those. That's painful. Wrong one. That one. This is why we have to create the alternate one for training for this. Okay. It's really important. All right. So what's this? This is it is TO5 Hotel. Okay. I'm really confused by this. So go back to Command-Shift-D. Go to field definitions. Christian, you're there. What am I looking at here? TO5D. So what is that relationship there? Double click. So it's matching on the account, matches the account. And what is this? What is that table? Is it contacts right there? Is that what that is?
It looks like you're looking at all the contacts from the same account and excluding the current person.
Right.
So if you were on my record.
Yeah, go ahead and cancel for a second. So this one is this. Double click that box right there for me. Just double click that. Contact. So it is contact. So it is labeled correctly. Just because it says it doesn't mean I necessarily trust it, which is what I'm trying to do. Yeah, so that's showing you the people in the same company, not including yourself, which is a good one, right? Yep. So yeah, I think that's why we need to make the simplified version of this so we can have that conversation with people. It depends on their level of sophistication. Kyle says, I'm starting to miss Anchor Buoy. My new employer uses a selector connector. Yeah, we got a call from, another huge company. and they are dumping there was a system built by, I think, Seed Code or Todd Geist or someone, and they use selector connector, and the performance goes to performance on Anchor Buoy has been measured uh, to be generally much faster than selector connector under a lot of conditions. Under the worst case scenario for Anchor Buoy, it will be the same speed as selector connector, but most of the time it's faster. Um, so I don't know. It's what happens when you have a bunch of high IQ people in the same room, smart, and they try to outsmart themselves, and you end up with something like selector connector. So it's a different way of organizing this up here. This up here is easy to explain to people. It also, suspiciously enough, has the highest level of performance. And that was not my opinion. That was established by Hansa from 24U. Hansa is one of the people that does some really neat stuff. We have him on the show periodically. In fact, Margaret, we need to get him back on the show again. And he does performance testing, and he did a really great job of testing out FileMaker, the various relational design capabilities. And
He is
so
actually scheduled for June 30th. So
that's way out, but yes. Okay. Media Soundbox. I found somewhere you can make major mods. I don't know. Beginners would be overwhelmed. Far too complex. Yeah. So, yeah, the one area that we left in here that's a little on the complex side is this one tab thing over here. We're going to make a simplified version of that before Monday. That's important. That one's just, yeah, too much. So, not we don't want to get rid of it. We just want to give them an alternate on the side, right? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Rick Fosnot. Yep. Missing panels, missing titles, support calls, difficult. Yep. I don't want support calls for this. From accounts, add new contacts. Rick Fosnot said, from accounts, add new contacts. I'm assuming we can do that. If you want to escape out of this and kind of get back to where we're at here. If you go to accounts, was there ability to add a new contact in here? There should have been, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right there. So I don't know what Media Sandbox or who's talking about, whatever. Rick says. Yeah, so related contacts. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So the problem is, once again, the YouTube's about a 90-second delay. Plus, I'm talking and I see the stuff on Discord. A little bit of delay. Christian Olson, conversation.
I'm here. I don't see necessarily any questions at the moment. I was going to chime in too that we definitely appreciate people giving us feedback on starting point, but I know that one of the challenges for us is, everyone's got an opinion, and I think, every other day we have someone tell us why modules should be named different or it should work the way that works best for them. Whereas we're really just trying to make something that's flexible enough for, I'm air quoting this, everyone.
Right. Air quotes in with your fingers, everyone. Yeah, that's kind of the goal. And so, once again, yeah, we've had someone comment that all these names are incorrect and all these font sizes are incorrect, and literally the person's suggestions would basically be a total rebuild. He doesn't probably understand it being a total rebuild, but as a guy who has to write a check and pay for this, I can assure you it's just about a total rebuild at this point. So the ship on this is largely sailed. We're just trying to finish painting the details on the ship, but really I can drop this in the water and it's mostly done. There's a big bunch of you submitted, but in fact, let's go to the bug list real quick, just for fun, then we'll jump back to invoices. But if you want to show the bug list of what we're working on. So we have a bunch of bugs here. We got feature requests, we got bugs. So Mark Johnson had a bunch of good ones. Rob had a good one. Yep, thank you for spelling errors on that. Thank you if we see that. Bunch of them. Then John Pollard had a handful of bug fixes and then a whole bunch of suggestions about how to rename everything, etc. Christian Schmidt had a couple that he found problems with, so we are tracking these in here. So how do they submit a bug if they want, or they're using this? So the short version is we're going to have an X2 by Monday, this coming Monday when we start the CRM training. There'll be an X2 of this, and we will have a list of all the bugs that were squished. But largely, if you gave us a bug and not a, shall we say, a feature request, then it's going to be taken care of before Monday. In terms of the feature requests, the only feature request really, like in terms of major, like little things like moving things around because it doesn't make sense. This is kind of, it'd be a big deal, but since I'm the guy writing the check, I can make a big request to have two versions of this, a simplified one. A simplified one, we're going to lose something in here. It won't be as good as this.
And if I could jump in, one thing too that I think we appreciate is, sure, you could tell us you wish it did different things, and like Richard said, some features we're going to listen to, others it's like, well, we could build it for you. But if you find something to be confusing, I think that's actually really helpful feedback. We may or may not act on it, but like the email module example that we were looking at earlier where the send button is hidden, if you find yourself struggling to find something, that could be really useful feedback for us.
That's super useful. If you're confused and you don't understand, like for example, if you're on the screen and this one here, and you say email here and you have email here, right? Can you go to contacts for me? You got two emails, like what are we doing and why are these different, right? And and that's a good point that maybe we should somehow I would just say quick email down there on that one, just so I don't leave it and forget about it. But if you go to contacts, I would just call it quick email down there if you're on the menu.
Oh, over here on the details.
On the menu. Because you have two emails, they don't make sense. That one's a quick email and the other one's email. I would say form, put a second word below it or next to it or something.
We can just call that the quickie.
Yeah, no, the bottom one's a quickie, and then the top one is the other. Kyle, sorry, Rick says I can't explain it properly. Rick, thank you. I understand things are expensive. I can try to build it. Watching Nick's picker layout. Yeah. So here's the deal with this thing. This should not fit anyone's exact needs perfectly. I've had a couple people said, "Hey, we used it just as it was. We put it on the server. It worked great." Okay, I get that. I understand that might be a thing you can do. But I was just trying to move the window to the right a little bit, Michael, to get away if you look at Discord where my face is at. But the idea is that I want this, in an ideal world, I could get you 90% of the way there, and you take the last 10% and get you over the line to get it done. That's the goal for me. Once again, we're going to simplify this stupid thing here, which is unacceptable. But outside of that, I really, my goal is and I say this flippantly, it's not FM completely done. My goal is to just get you there and frankly save you a ton of work. And so all you have to do is really kind of remove the pieces up here you don't need, go to layout mode, hit the delete key, or take the pieces you don't need and move them off to the right side of the screen so they don't show up. There's really not a performance hit for that. It lightens the load a little bit. Remove the items in here that you don't need. Once again, the goal is to get you most of the way there. If you find some other technique that's just the most amazing thing, like Calvin has that menu popper thing from the left, you hit the button and the menu kind of it flies out, right? And then it's down this way, right? You get this whole popper menu thing, which is amazing, right? But that's not in here. There's always going to be stuff you want to add. So it's FileMaker. The idea is that you can't add to it. My goal is to educate you as best we can on that. And then just the capitalistic part of me is if you don't want to learn it, but you want it done, then go hire Michael at half off the normal going hourly rate and have him help you build it for him. Okay. If you have absolutely no budget, no money, and you don't want to learn, you've got a problem. You've got a problem. You're going to have to marry up to someone who's got a lot of money and then use their money to get what you want, right?
Kyle was just expressing at his new job, they do a mixture of data separation and selector connector, and he finds it so much more difficult than what it was using anchor buoys. So there was just some chatter on that.
Yeah, I mean, the separation model is a conversation that it really comes from the people who are in the community who came from big iron, big hardware, like Oracle backgrounds, Sybase backgrounds, things like that. And for them, the data is in one file and the structure of your data system is in another file, at least another file. So having them separated in some way makes them feel like they're playing with big tech. So that's an interesting conversation with that. Yeah, Ruben's an Oracle guy, right? Are you still doing Oracle, Ruben? Are you done with Oracle? Or you kind of transitioned out of that? Or you still play with that a little bit? Totally done. Yeah. Well, it's a powerhouse, right? But I mean, it's a different world of where FileMaker Claris platform lives, right? So that kind of thing. So cool. All right. Well, I don't have too much more at the moment. We might be, well, we're actually at 2 o'clock. So tomorrow I'm going to bring my server guy, so we have ability to handle some server questions tomorrow. If any of you are playing with this, have questions, we are going to keep banging away at the bug list, and so this will be X2 by Monday, if not sooner. And then that'll be pretty close to, I don't want to say final. It'll probably be X5 before it's final. But a lot of all the low-hanging bugs that we have are going to get squished. And we'll put this simplified design over here. This one, once again, we're kind of compensating for lack of interface modernization by Claris, right? I think someday Claris will go back and modernize Pro, because they're talking about maybe trying to replace Pro with a web version in like 5+ years. I can tell you at the rate they're going, it'll be closer. If they keep on the same rate that they're going, it'll be 15 or 20 years. They're going to have to accelerate their accelerate their curve in terms of how they implement FileMaker kind of in a web browser kind of application. But I think in the near term, for the next, say, at least 5 years, if you're doing any heavy lifting at all with FileMaker, which is everything we're doing here, you're going to be in Pro, whatever they call that. It'll be Pro. And then, but yeah, the idea is that eventually there'll be a web browser variant, and that's what they're putting all their time and money into. But some of these tools, the tab controls and slide controls and the button bar, they're like 80% way of being really awesome, and they were great at the time, but they've never been that last little tweak thing. So you can't build what you see right here very easily because it's not been modernized. So they're going to have to work on that. Backups are fast, differential backups. Yeah, David Angel, just so you know, and Ruben, there's some backup changes coming in 19.5 slash, yeah, that's, never mind. I'm just going to say 19.5 for the moment. And we're trying to see if we trust it or not. Just a reminder, when 19.5 comes out, I am not going to be an early adopter, or at least of the server version of that, because it's got backup changes that are potentially very dangerous. Rick Hellman asked me, are they dangerous because you found bugs in them, or dangerous because we're touching things that are super critical? And it's not because we found bugs. It's because if you guys have a bug, you're going to melt some companies' databases, right? So yeah, so we want to make sure it gets flushed out, and as many people who have, don't care about their backups, air it out first in advance, because there's a lot of good stuff in 19.5 whenever that comes out. I've lost sight of when 19.5 even comes out. It was supposed to be out originally in April. Rick Fosnan says, thank you for your assist. I appreciate it. Scheduled time with Alex next week. Yeah, great. I really appreciate it. Yep, IT Gaming Access. I expect IT Gaming Access and some of you to be here next week. It's very, very, very beginning basic. Josh Ormon's going to want to hang himself from the rafter if he has to come to the basic training next week. So don't bother with that, Josh. We're going to be pivoting towards very, very basic training starting Monday. Let's take a look at the live schedule real quick as once again a reminder. Tomorrow will be a little bit more of this stuff. We're going to bring in Jacob Taylor on some server component stuff. Thursday, Klaus Levent, taking your own medicine. I'm not entirely sure what this is, but he's a good guy and he's smart. So he will be here on Thursday. And then there's a bunch of email shenanigans things going on with Gmail. If I will just give you a big warning to everyone, super, super important. If you have a free Gmail email account and you send emails out of that free Gmail email account, that is going to break on May 30th, end of this month. And so I had an all hands company meeting this morning, and we banged around about 2 or 3 different alternatives, and I think we've come up with probably the easiest way forward to get that resolved and fixed. And it gets back to this OAuth kind of idea, but maybe you don't have to use OAuth. It just depends. So that's that. And then next week we start day 1 through day 20, whatever, of the basics of FileMaker 101, plus the idea of taking a CRM and customizing it. So don't build from scratch. Take something that's already built that's totally free and get yourself 90% of the way there. Cool? Very, very, very cool.
And just out of curiosity, if anyone out there was like, man, Michael seems like a really sharp engineer. He built FMSP. Is there any way I could hire him? Michael, how could people reach out and see if you were still taking clients? Because that could end soon.
All you have to do is reach out to support@rcconsulting.com. and I'd be happy to take
He's
care
one
of
of
you.
our coaches, and he does this half-off coaching work, which is kind of neat. He's kind of newer on the team. He's been doing FileMaker for a couple, 2, 3 years. Michael, can you quit showing your screen? Show us your Tony Stark view real quick. Well, he was there. There he is right there. That's him. He's the very Tony Stark. And there's Christian, the Wolf Pack, doing the very Wolfsy thing. So yeah, very good. Trust me, I'm an engineer. I think they used a real 500 to shoot that shot, by the way. I'm working on getting time in that, just for those of you who put random up and then you're like, what the hell? Right? But if you go to Discord right here, that's a 500C model, Charlie model, and I think they actually stuck one upside down. It might have been timed out or screwed up, but that's actually it spinning around. It's not a fake. And I'm like, wow, you took a $1 million helicopter and did that. So anyway, I want to get some time in
I
that.
feel a little let down that you didn't do tricks like that when you flew me.
Yeah, no, because that helicopter will loop and roll. This one here, mine won't. Mine just likes to stay upright. So anyway, all right, cool. Well, that's it for today, everyone. We'll catch you tomorrow. Reminder: pause on air. Go get your tickets if you want to go, because they're sold a lot of the way out already on the hotel room. So go get that done. All right, see ya. Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir!